Hi, my name is Scott Fell. I'm with the Understanding Project, and I've got Marquee Kelley with me this evening. How are you doing today, Marquee?
I'm good, my brother. I'm good.
Good. Well, man, I'm so excited to have you joining me this evening. Um, I don't know as much about you as I would like to, but what little bit I know, I think you've really impressed me. You seem to have a great attitude and a really good spirit. And I'm excited to have you be part of this project. So, um, to get started, just tell me a little bit about yourself.
Um, the hardest thing to do is to talk about yourself. So sometimes I don't know. I got married back in 2014. Wonderful wife, 2 kids. My son, my oldest, he is 4 years old, and my daughter is 1, going on 30 years old. I've been married for probably 6 years, but with my wife about 7 years. I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years from 2016 to 2012 to 2016. Left the Marine Corps, became an officer for Atlanta Police Department, and I'm in school right now at Liberty University. I take Christian. I'm majoring in Christian ministries with a focus in evangelism. Still in the Army Reserve. I was also in Army Reserve, and I help a buddy of mine run a ministry, an evangelism ministry that we started up. Probably it was March 1st, that start date. We that launched off and getting other people, man, just living a life just to serve God ultimately.
Awesome.
I'm a youth leader at Chestnut Mountain.
What's y'all's ministry called?
It's called Raw, Rise, and Walk. Scripture tells us to not just take Him, but take what you get, go and walk. So our ministry, we teach and we equip people to take what they, not just take what they're getting from just a word standpoint, but taking what they got and go and take that to the public. Jesus gave us all commandments saying to go into all nations, spreading the gospel. So essentially that's what we do.
Awesome. That's awesome. So, so tell me a little bit about, your family when you were growing up. What was your family like when you were kind of growing up?
Family life was pretty cool. My mother, my father. I have 2 older brothers and an older sister. I'm the baby in the family.
You got away with everything.
Yeah, I did. Sometimes I don't feel like that way, but when I hear the story, it seems like I got away with a whole lot. It's like my dad was a lot harder on the first 2 than he was the last 2. So me and my sister, we got away with a lot.
Yeah. Cool. So, so when you were growing up, so your mom and dad were together throughout the entire time. So, did you grow up in church?
No, sir. My dad started going to church when I was like in my teenage years, but he didn't really force it upon us to go. And I used to go with him every now and then to go hang out with other girls inside of the church. It was like maybe 6 of us. It was a small church at the time, back in Decatur, Georgia. And then I eventually stopped going with my dad. And I had a buddy who I went to high school who kept inviting me to church. And he invited me to church, and I gave my life to Christ on September 11th, 11.
Okay, awesome. So, so you're from Decatur, Georgia. You grew up in Decatur.
Yeah, so I grew up in Stone Mountain, Georgia, but we bounced around, moved around, and my dad knew places. My family grew up in Atlanta, around the outskirts of Atlanta, everywhere.
Okay,
So Stone Mountain to Decatur. So I bounced around a lot.
Did you change schools a lot during that time?
I did. I was getting in trouble a lot in school at the time. So I went to a few different schools. Yes, sir.
Okay, so what was that like? The schools that you went to, were they fairly diverse, or was like one school very different than the other? You know, kind of walk me through that a little bit.
One of the first schools, well, when I first moved to Gwinnett County, that was predominantly white school, but I started having trouble in there. I really wasn't adapting to the environment. But from there, I started getting in trouble in school, and I bounced around from like different alternative schools to just different school systems, just to try to get a footing in somewhere where I could get an education.
Okay. Um, so now you are a Atlanta City police officer. That's
Yes,
correct.
sir.
And how long have you been doing that?
Almost 4 years now, since 2016.
2016. So 4 years. So what's that like?
It's hard, my brother. It's hard, especially in the climate it is today. Trying to protect and serve and trying to stand up for other people. Um, then just the racial tension just that's going on. It's difficult. A few sleepless nights, a lot of stress, and just a lot of praying throughout this time, trying to figure out how to maneuver in it all.
Yeah, I can imagine. I think that first off, thank you so much for your service to our country and to our community as a police officer as well. I think that um, being a police officer in our country today is probably the hardest job uh, that there is out there, just because of all the things that you mentioned. And I greatly appreciate you being willing to take on that challenge.